Hey everyone, Dave Putz from JKP Holdings. Alongside me, as always, Mr. Nathan Turner.
Hello, hello.
Good afternoon, my man. How are you?
Very good, very good.
So, another week done. It's starting to get warmer around here in Jersey, which is awesome. And I don't know about you, but we're seeing assets come out of the woodwork recently. It seems like things are opening up. Second quarter is becoming a promptly pair that we're going to probably see some more stuff pretty soon. We'll see what that looks like. But I'm definitely interested in seeing how transition is and pricing, because that's a big thing for us right now. Is this worthwhile for people who are, buying to buy, even though inventory is available?
Yeah, I actually just Monday, I just put in a fairly large bid on 23 assets, and fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. But we'll see how pricing comes back. It's one of those unknowns. It's one of those weird times where inventory is starting to get more and more, and so naturally prices should decrease. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
So I think right now we are looking at a shift, right? We're coming out of the COVID craziness. We're seeing some hedge funds start releasing stuff, and delinquencies are going to start kind of changing, right? People are no longer getting that funds. I know that I've just heard that like Dell was laying off people. Don't know what that's going to mean in the long run. However, I think that when we look at this stuff, delinquency has always been with notes, so it's not like a new thing. It's been something that's been around since mortgages came around. But we are seeing a shift in the inventory. I mean, you were looking at too, right? In the coming weeks, we'll be talking about reverse mortgages. We'll be talking more about wraps, originating it, and buying those kind of things, and a different paper, because there was billions of dollars in created wraps, which is ridiculous. And that angles a lot differently than buying these 3% and 4% interest loads that we've seen the last 3-4 years. Yeah,
it helps us as note buyers to be able to purchase. It helps us because the interest rates are a little bit higher. They tend to be anyway. So it helps us to be able to keep that machine moving. Those 3% interest rate loans, it'll be interesting to see what happens with those over the next few years. I don't think any of those are coming up available in our world, but it'll be interesting to see what the approach is for those, because those can be tough to move.
Yeah. And for those who don't know what I mean, when you're trying to buy a 3% loan, we always preach on this topic. You never buy them percentage of UPB or BPO. That doesn't mean anything. It's really buying on that interest rate, right? So buying on that yield or IRR. And if that interest rate's a 3 or 4, to get it to a 10 that you're looking for, or 15 or 20, whatever you look for, the discount is deeper and deeper the farther lower that original interest rate is. And we try to encourage people to kind of think differently. We're still hearing about people buying on percentage of UPB, which if you want us private talk, we can have it, on how that just doesn't make sense.
10 years ago, you could do that because everything was underwater, and it was a totally different market. So 10 years ago, sure. If you want to buy it based on percentage of UPB, in most cases that made sense. But in today's market, it just doesn't.
Nope.
So absolutely learn not. And adjust and grow or die, because you can't do it the same way you did 10 years ago.
Well said. We just finished up our second 5-week course. We're going into our 6 to 10 week course with those people who completed the 1 through 5. A couple of previous clients have been on here. We'll actually have one of our recent clients kind of share what we talked about, from building a bid calculator to due diligence. And in the second 6 to 10 weeks, we'll be talking about systems and organizing your vendors and managing them, how to do that, BK, and also originating notes and partials and whatnot.
Some advanced strategies.
It's been
probably not.
Class has been really awesome, because it allows us, you and I, to talk about how our methods are different, even though we talk the same talk.
And we've both been doing this for a number of years now, and it's interesting to see our different but similar approaches. The same way of getting to point A to point B to point C, but just in different ways.
Absolutely. With that said, we're talking about alternative investing, not just bank originated notes, which we've bought for many, many, many years. Mm-hmm. This market of being seller finance, not just seller finance, but buying wraps and buying reverse mortgages is a huge topic. This whole idea. Can you speak a little bit about this baby of yours, DME, that's going to be talking about not just bank originated notes and how those who may not listen to us 2 weeks ago, what they're walking into is not going to be a typical note investing conference.
No, exactly. And you know, I've been to a lot of conferences over the years, and there's been a ton of talk about non-performing notes because that was a huge market for us. That I don't want to say it's drying up, but it's not as plentiful as it used to be. So we've got to expand, we've got to learn, we've got to grow and learn how to do different kinds of notes. So a big purpose of what I'm trying to accomplish at DME is I want the originators to be there as well as the note buyers to be there so that we can come together. The originators have somewhere to sell their product and the buyers have somewhere to buy stuff.
Well
so
said.
a big meeting of everybody to come together. I want people to walk away with deals, not just contacts.
Yeah. And it's funny, we just had a master meeting of the minds last Wednesday with a small group of people and from different sectors. And they all said the same thing, that we're marrying two different huge networks of people that's never really connected before. And they love it. We love it. And it's a completely different way of thinking. So in the coming weeks, we'll be doing more topics about this. So you guys can learn a little bit more about it from a legal stance as well as an investment stance. So
but go get your tickets, DME, diversifiedmortgageexpo.com. Tickets are live.
We'll be in June. Make sure you get down to Nashville, guys.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
So you're not big in this. I'm trying to get bigger in this, but it's not my forte. But one of the things we try doing is automating, not automating, but kind of systemizing our stuff.
Yeah.
But we also try to systemize our marketing as well, or at least I try to. And I'm not good at it. I don't have the patience for it.
I'm worse.
Yeah. And to me, it's like, oh, right. I did more years ago, but I just don't have the time and energy. I got small kids. I got a lot going on. And to me, it takes a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
And if you go on LinkedIn or if you go on Facebook, right, one of the big things I'm going to bring him on as we talk about this here is I see Larry posting constantly, and I'm jealous. To be honest with you, I'm jealous of him, man. And this whole idea of marketing and advertising what you're doing, I wish more people did it, and I'm amazed at what you're doing. It's astonishing. So we want to bring you on here to kind of share a little bit about what you've done in the past, how you got to where you're doing, and why you're doing it. Maybe we're going to write some tidbits down of what we can do better as investors. So Larry, welcome, man. Thank you for coming this afternoon and joining us.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. Hey, Nathan. Thank you.
Hey, you bet.
So Larry's been in the space for a long time. He has some great connections and he does some great marketing. Like, before we get into that, share a little bit about how did you come across note investing? Did you take classes? How did you learn about it?
Yeah, well, I've been investing. I started investing back in 2006. I guess just like traditional buying properties, rehabbing them and selling them. Doing a bunch of lease options, short sales, subject tos, owner financing. I've taken back quite a bit of notes, right? And so taking that note back, that was my first experience. I didn't know what I didn't know because this note space is an entirely different thing from just like traditional, real estate, because you have to have a different mindset and you have to get out of that you're no longer the rehabber, you're rehabbing the properties. And, but when I first got started, I did do a owner finance note, and I sold it, but I took a huge haircut because I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know what I didn't know in order to do this, but I never really made that transition. And then it was just funny. I bought a book. It's Be the Bank, and I forget the author's name. And that was really like the beginning where the light bulb went off for me. And then I reached out to, I took a couple other classes, and then I eventually wound up taking mentoring. And that was the really aha moment for me with getting into this note space, where, if the younger me would have known what the older me knew now with that note, there's no way that I would have took that big of a haircut on that note. But, it's one of those things, you live and you learn.
So for those who are looking, I did a quick Google search on that, saying it was written by Benjamin Michael Lyons. So for those who are curious about it, a quick Amazon search. So you got into this world of this product, you did the real estate thing, which I think we all kind of started with, right?
Yep.
And we stumbled across it one pathway or another. Me and Nathan shared our story before. Did you jump in it head first? Did you have any kind of education